One of the analysts from ESPN said that he thinks that Cat and Captain are elite in terms of being one of the best duos. Anscapes Dennis Jr., he gave his thoughts on the Knicks tandem. He said, I think the best duo in the East and the second best duo in the league is Brunson and Cat for what they've done. We saw last season offensively, they were unstoppable for large portions in that season. Facts. Especially when they got the pick and roll going. And they didn't utilize it enough. I agree. Now you bring Mike Brown into the organization, a guy who's going to move the ball around, who's going to go a little bit more of a pick and roll. I hope so. A little bit more of those handoffs. I hope so. We already, because it's so, matter of fact, salute to all the channel members who watch me hoop, right? I don't think that made it to, so one of the days I was playing, I was hooping, right? And I set a lot of screens, right? So I set a screen one time I was doing handoff. I was doing a handoff. And I faked the handoff and got a layup, completely confusing the defense because I'm screening, dumping off, rolling. That's another measure that you could do at least once or twice a game if I'm handing off and setting screens. I like to fake it and dive hard or drive hard. And that's something I want to see Brunson and Towns can do, man. I swear, like, there was a number by, what's the name of that? Is it Sports Radar? They had a stat like early last season that had the Knicks, that had Brunson and Towns as the best pick and roll duo stat-wise. It was like stat they created or they came up with that showed that they were the best. And it's prolific. They just don't run it enough. Because when you look at, if you go to NBA.com, the Knicks were, I think, bottom 10 in pick and roll, initiating by a pick and roll ball handler, right? They were bottom 10 in that. Not enough pick and rolls from a pick and roll ball handler. Hopefully Mike Brown can do that. They didn't utilize it at enough, like the article just said. Now you bring Mike Brown to the organization, the guy who moved the ball around a little bit more, handoffs. We already saw at their height, those guys had those 5 20-point games each in one playoff series. We hadn't seen that since hold that down. Wait, what? It said we already saw at their height, those guys had those 5 20-point games each in one playoff series. That's a bar right there, B. We hadn't seen that since Shaq and Kobe. Wow. I think they're going to level up offensively this year and be the second best duo in the league and be the best duo in the Eastern Conference. I'm going to say this. If Brunson can elevate his game to a first-team level, and if Towns can elevate his game to a second-team level, I think they're the best duo in basketball. Hands down. I know OKC won the championship, but if they're elevating their games to that next level, and realistically, if you really look at it, it's close. I mean, SGA individually, he's the best. We know that. He's the best player. To me, he's the best player in the world. I respect Jokic. I love his craft. SGA is a different breed, bro. He's a champion, MVP, did it all, swept all the awards. So if you're weighing that, then of course you're going to lean to OKC. But if you look at what both guys are really bringing, like Brunson and Towns, to me, bring more than what Jalen Williams brings. And of course, SGA brings the most. So it's closer than people think. I'm curious to see what you guys are going to say. I'll probably do that survey tomorrow for sure. I'm going to do those two, and that'll be the first one. But I think that they potentially could be the best in the league. I don't see why not. Because, yes, Jalen Williams could take his game to another level. But it's so much on that team. I think that Brunson and Towns together as a duo has to do a little bit more than what Williams. But to be honest, both teams are stacked because you still got Mikal and OG. So, both duos don't really have to do that much, except like Brunson could get more assists and Towns can continue dominating the glass and maybe try to get some more blocks. And maybe those areas those two guys can really work on. But besides that, offensively, 25, 27, I think points wise, I don't think they need to do more than that.